Hi, welcome to Beantown Kitchen and the second episode of Make It with Matt with my good friend, Matt Powa, vegan, triathlete, and Ironman, who's going to be demonstrating for us how to make a delicious quinoa butternut squash dish.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the second episode of Make It with Matt on Diana Goldman's Beantown Kitchen. We're going to be doing some cooking today, but lots of news this week, lots of good news for the planet. Obama killed Keystone XL. Attorney General Eric Schneiderman in New York issued subpoenas to go after ExxonMobil's campaign of deception and denial. It's a good week for the planet. We're going to be making a butternut squash dish today. Good for your body, good for the planet, eating low on the food chain. This is the butternut squash. We already cut it up. I got this recipe, full credit where credit's due, from Reboot with Joe. If you haven't checked out Reboot with Joe's website, a lot of good recipes there. Hey, we're just the ones who do it on video. All right, so first thing you do is you cut up a butternut squash. I was lucky enough to get this butternut squash as a gift from a friend who was working on an organic farm. And we cut it up and it's ready to go. It's an entire butternut squash. You want to cut it up to about that size, like 1 inch cube or smaller. All right, this is a great dish, by the way, for Thanksgiving. Great timing because Thanksgiving's coming up. I made like a triple recipe of this last year for Thanksgiving. People loved it. You're gonna love it. All right, so you're supposed to measure out, like, I don't know, a couple of tablespoons, but I hate measuring, so we're not gonna measure. We're just gonna throw some olive oil on there, and then if we had a spoon, we'd use a spoon, but we can just use our hands, you know. It's okay to use your hands. It's like being in kindergarten. Remember in kindergarten, you like getting your hands all covered with stuff, so we're gonna just, you know, get the olive oil on there. Try not to use too much olive oil. I always tend to use too much olive oil. You just want to get it coated. And then we're going to throw on some sea salt. And then we're going to roast it in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes. And you turn it and stir it a couple of times, like every 10 minutes. Maybe just even twice during 35 minutes. And you'll be able to tell when it's done. We'll show you on video. But it'll be done when it's, you know, starting to turn a little bit brown around the edges. It's a great recipe for Thanksgiving. Absolutely perfect. So this is great timing. All right, so that's the olive oil. Not very complicated. And then we're just going to put a little sea salt on there as well. We'll toss it with some sea salt. Sea salt tastes much better than regular salt. Everybody's got to have their sea salt. Okay, so here we go. Very complicated. You're supposed to measure. Don't measure. Just do it by taste. I don't even remember. Somewhere here in the recipe it tells you how much to use. I don't really care. I just like the taste of sea salt and I want it on there. And and then I don't have my spoon handy and the video's running, so I'm just gonna use my hands again like I'm in kindergarten. There we go. Okay, so step one is to take this butternut squash, which you have cut up so lovingly and carefully, and that you have tossed with olive oil and salt, and you spread it out on a tray with a little aluminum foil or parchment paper. And I try to get just like one layer so they're not on top of each other. I don't know why. I don't know if it really matters, but anyway, that's how I do it. And then we're gonna put it, this is very tricky, okay? We're gonna put it in the oven. Watch carefully, all right? You can do this at home, don't get into me. You open the oven door, and you put it in, and it's not even at 425 yet. You're supposed to preheat the oven to 425. Of course, I forgot, and we got on it late. It's now at 3 something, but it doesn't really matter. Just cook it until it's done. We'll be back in a little bit. Okay, step 2 is you gotta cook the quinoa. Quinoa, we're gonna use 1 cup dry. And before you cook the quinoa, you gotta rinse it. I have no idea why. Maybe it's because it comes naturally covered with toxic waste like PCBs or DDT or something. This is organic quinoa from Whole Foods. I don't know why you have to rinse it, but for some reason, we'll put it on the show notes, you gotta rinse it. So here I am rinsing my quinoa. Get all that nasty PCB stuff off it, otherwise it'll kill you. All right, rinsed quinoa. Anybody can do this. If I can cook, you can cook. In fact, that's kind of the point. Like if Matt can do it, anybody can do it. Okay, the quinoa goes in the pot. Guys, I know you can handle that. And then it says 2 cups of water to 1 cup of quinoa. I use a little less than that. So there's 1 cup of water, and I'm going to use like 3/4. The quinoa has a little bit of a crunchier taste, a little more, you know, something to sink your teeth into if you don't cook it with 2 cups of water. And all you do is boil it. It's like rice. You boil it, you turn it down, and when the water is gone, it's done. I can do it. You can do it. All right. So here we go. We put it on the stove. We turn on the heat. We cover it. When it starts to boil, we turn it down. It takes 15 minutes or so. Okay, next step. We are going to saute the onions in olive oil. Also highly complicated. We're going to very carefully measure out an exact amount of olive oil, which is yay much. People who can really cook don't need recipes. Like, for example, my wife. But people like me need recipes. So we're going to saute the onions. I like to saute them on low heat, otherwise they kind of burn and they get brown and crispy, which is not what I want. So we'll turn the heat down here. Okay. So all we're going to do is cook these 7 to 9 minutes-ish on low heat, maybe even a little longer. And then when they're ready, we're going to put in the quinoa, which is done. And you see, all right, so the onions are pretty well cooked. We cook them nice and slow on low heat, maybe 10 minutes. Now we put the quinoa in. We're going to cook the quinoa together with the onions for another 3 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. On the stovetop, it's kind of interesting. You're cooking the quinoa and then you cook it again on the stovetop with the onions. So make sure you see here, onions and quinoa, very simple. And we're going to do this for 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And then I'm going to come over here and grab the butternut squash out of the oven. We turned this off because it was done, but you can see this is actually kind of nice to see. That's when you know it's about done. It's kind of a little bit brownish, and you know, it's not overdone. All we're going to do, very simple, after we do our little 3 to 5 minutes on the stovetop here with the onions and the quinoa, we put the butternut squash in. We cook it for another 2 minutes. Quite frankly, that's what the recipe says. You don't need to do that. You just cook the butternut squash. Really no need to cook it again. You could actually just stop at this point and combine them in a bowl, which is probably what I'll do. So we're just going to let this go for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to finish the main part of it and put the toppings. Okay, so this is done cooking. That was just like 3 to 5 minutes. And we're just going to put it into a bowl. We've got our quinoa, we've got our butternut squash, we've got that pretty red onion, and now we're just going to put some almonds on it. The recipe actually calls for pistachios, but if I eat pistachios, I have to inject myself with an EpiPen. I'd probably go to the hospital, and I know that would be good reality TV, but this isn't reality TV. This is a cooking show for people who like to eat plant-based stuff. So we're going to use almonds because I can actually eat almonds, which I didn't know until a few years ago, but I can eat almonds. And I don't have an anaphylactic reaction. So about half a cup of almonds. Again, very simple. We're going to cut them up. You don't have to cut them up. I like to cut them up, not because I like cutting, because I like the size of them better when they're cut up, because when you cut them, they get smaller. And then we're just going to mix them in. And you know, half a cup may not be quite enough. Maybe you want a little bit more than half a cup. Just, you know, whatever you like. Okay? So, I guess there's some things you have to measure very exactly. I'll probably stay away from those things. All right. Bing, bang, boom. That's a pretty good knife, Diana. All right. Boom. And then we're going to take some parsley, which we actually grew ourselves, and we're going to chop up the parsley. Let's get rid of these stems. And again, notice the absolute lack of measuring. Just do whatever amount of parsley you like. And then the last thing is going to be the pomegranate, and Diane is going to show you how to do the pomegranate. So she's got a special trick that's going to make this entire thing worth however long you've spent watching it. And in goes the parsley. And we're going to put the pomegranate on top. This thing's getting more colorful by the second. Look at all these colors, folks. We've got the orange, we've got the purple onion, purplish reddish onion, we've got the quinoa, butternut squash, almonds. It's really beautiful. You know, people think you can actually cook. When you make this and you put it on the table, they're like, oh, it looks so beautiful. And then they taste it and they're like, oh my God. And then you're like, it's so good for you. And you're like, oh, it's good for me too. So anyway, we're almost done. Thank you for joining Make It with Matt. Thank you for joining Beantown Kitchen. You've got one more thing coming up, which is Diana putting on the pomegranates. And keep an eye out in the next month, 2 months, something like that, for my podcast, Thinking Green, the Matt Power podcast, coming soon to a computer terminal or iPhone near you. Cheers.
And here I am with a pomegranate. This, if you like pomegranate, is going to be life-changing. You know how when you cut pomegranate, the red juices get everywhere, and as much as you want to do it, it's kind of a miserable experience? Well, this is what I do. Take your pomegranate, cut it in half, place it in a big bowl of water, like this, and then turn the pomegranate upside down inside the water, break it apart, and just pull the little arrows out of the pomegranate. It comes out easily. You don't get any mess. And it's fast. We don't need many pomegranates. Hey everybody.
We have a special guest appearance.
Oh, you do? Okay. So, once you've gotten some of the seeds out, you'll find this little white pith floats to the top. Just use your hands, or you can use a very itty-bitty sieve, like this, to scoop them off the top. And your seeds float to the bottom. How easy is that? No mess, quick, easy access to delicious pomegranate.
Wait, do they float to the bottom or sink to the bottom? Oh, there's Boston's greatest vegan triathlete, Dan Goldman.
PTT.
Go Boston Triathlon Team. Okay.
Okay. And
that's Diana's husband, for those of you who don't know.
1/2 cup for this recipe. There we go. Onto the top. And voila. This is your Make It with Matt, quinoa, butternut squash, pomegranate, delicious bowl.
Yeehaw! Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.